Dude, you're late again. If Perry catches you, then your ass is grass.
I was out late chasing that purple parasite punk for an interview for the Daily Planet.
But why do you always try to interview villains? It's like you have a death wish.
I just need that big story to get us noticed.
We've only been working here a month. Please don't do anything stupid to get us fired.
All right. What are you working on?
Well, check this shit out. I was touching up a picture of Superman for tomorrow's paper, but I noticed something. If you draw a pair of glasses on him, he kind of looks like Clark Kent.
Oh, yeah, totally, Jake, and I moonlight as Black Canary.
Oh, the thought of you in fishnets is scarier than any supervillain. But seriously, though, look, Clark would really be the Man of Steel.
Fuck it. I'm just gonna walk over there and ask him.
Oh, you're just gonna waltz up to Superman and out him? He could toss you into the sun.
All right, let's ask Jimmy and see what he thinks. Yo, Jim, come look at this. Ooh, jeepers, pals. That's not good.
My computer just turned off. There's a hole burned in it. What the actual...
Hi, Clark. Didn't see you standing there watching over us. We'll get back to work.
It's a bird.
It's a plane.
No, it's Super Sons.
And we are back with a new episode. How are you, Jake?
I've been better.
Well, it's a kind of not chilly Saturday. It's kind of nice outside. It was really nice outside last night.
You know
Probably
what?
not too
You know where
good.
it wasn't nice though? The dentist's office.
How'd that go?
They just give me some antibiotics and stuff.
Sounds like you're gonna have to get that thing drilled.
Yeah, I'm not excited for that.
Yikes. Before we kick off the show, we wanted to kind of reiterate the whole point of us doing this whole podcast. We wanted to make it easier for people to kind of get into the DC universe by breaking down some big ticket stories and getting to some different parts of the universe that normally people wouldn't find themselves in. I've heard a lot of people talk about how there's a lot of barriers to entry for DC Comics and how it's kind of a huge endeavor to get into them because there's all the reboots, the multiverse, all that kind of stuff. So Jake and I decided we wanted to start a podcast in order to help new readers get on board.
That's right. And
at the end...
Go ahead.
At the end of the day, if we get someone to pick up a comic book that normally wouldn't have because of our podcast, then I think we've done our duty. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to read that.
Oh. Yeah, I think seeing someone, maybe a picture or something of someone buying a comic book would be like the, probably the ultimate success story for us. Just wanted to kind of reiterate that because I don't know if we ever made that fully clear. Just wanted it all out there. But now on to the show. Jake, any updates from the DCU?
Doom Patrol's out. It is not Doom Patrol Go, sadly.
I haven't gotten to watch it yet because I was out last night, but it looks like it's gotten a lot of positive reviews.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet either. But because I was watching something else, and what else was I doing? Oh yeah, Jump Force.
Yeah,
Weeb stuff.
Yeah, but today we're going to change the format a little bit. I think the character we're covering is the biggest superhero of all time and the first. So we wanted to change up how we did it a little bit.
Yeah, today we're doing a very special issue, something that's celebrating him completely, which is amazing. It's amazing how far this has gone.
Yeah. What was it, 1938 is when he was created?
Yes, June of 1938.
It's crazy that he's still a complete icon today. Like, I don't know how many times you've seen the Superman symbol on pretty much every type of clothing, accessory, building, everything. Superman has been everywhere. He's the beacon. He's the one.
Some would say he hears everything. He hears what Dan says right now.
Yeah, but I think recently I've started to get more into Superman as I've sort of grown up.
Yeah, we've always been.
tastes.
Yeah, I agree with that statement because most of our lives we were edgy boys, all about that Batman.
Yeah, I mentioned Jake this analogy earlier this week when I was thinking about Superman and Batman. The way I described it is that Batman is Hot Topic. He's got, like, when you were younger, he had all that cool, edgy darkness, stuff you wanted to, like, wear to be rebellious and all that kind of stuff. But as you get older, Hot Topic still has a lot of cool things. Like, you can go in there and you see all this stuff, but you're not going to wear, like...
Trip pants? Batman is trip pants?
You're not going to wear trip pants to a business meeting.
I don't know, Dan. Trip pants are pretty nice.
Superman, on the other hand, I described as a cotton white t-shirt. He's not the most frilly or show-offy, but he's always there. He's that trusted thing that everyone should have. He is a glass of whole milk, a medium rare steak, and all that is right with the world.
And he goes really good with trip pants.
From personal experience with Superman, like growing up, I've known him from the cartoon, which I didn't like as much as Batman. Superman 64
episode.
Yeah, I just wasn't a character you ever got into. Justice League, he was great in. But like, I never was buying a Superman comic weekly. I don't think even to this day I have, other than Super Sons.
Yeah, no, it was... I think I only have a few trades of Superman comics, and I know I have Earth 1. I don't know what else I have.
Yeah, it's just like not a character I ever clung to, but now every day I read a little bit more and different things from him. I just bought The Death of Superman, The Reign of the Supermen, after seeing a double feature of the movies, which were also very good.
They were very fun.
But, I think Superman is probably one of the two most important characters to the DC Universe as a whole.
The other one's Ambush Bug, right?
No. Condiment King.
Oh, right.
Yeah, Condiment King. Very important. He was at all the crises.
Yeah, no, I mentioned this the other day to you, that, according to Hawkman, Superman is, in terms of the DC hero community, is the second most trusted. The first being Nightwing.
Yeah, he's like the character that everyone can depend on. He's been with the Justice League forever. He's led a number of teams. And he's all around just, Superman.
Superman.
Yeah, it's him and Batman are two sides of the same coin, but it's yeah. So today we're covering Action Comics 1000.
You heard it right, people. 1000.
So instead of doing two stories today, we're taking this supersized issue and just going story by story to talk about Superman. This, as Jake mentioned earlier, is a celebration of all things Superman, from every aspect to the way he inspires people, to the way they inspire him, and to some of the biggest milestones of his life and lives he hasn't lived yet, in one case. So, you want to kick it off with the first story? Oh, the first story is me.
Yes, that is you. I have got like the 3 after that, I think.
So, the first story is written by Dan Jurgens, pencils by Dan Jurgens, inks by Norm Repmund, colorist Hi-Fi, who's done a lot of Superman recently, and letterer Rob Lay. Dan Jurgens is actually the writer of Death of Superman, and he wrote a lot of Superman. I didn't know he drew Superman as well until today, until I put those two things together. I actually own Action Comics 1000. I remember going to the store like super excited to get it that day. And I got the Dan Jurgens cover because it's got my favorite DC logo, the one with the stars and DC. And it's got the old logo, it's got everything. It's got that era of Superman and all that kind of stuff, which is like the Superman I think of when I think of the comic version of him. Yeah, so I got the Dan Jurgens cover. So this story was pretty big because Dan Jurgens is real good at comics.
Very good at comics.
The story opens with John Kent. John is Superman's son, otherwise known as Superboy, best friend to Damian Wayne, known as Robin, one of the Super Sons. I actually think this is the first time we've brought him up on the show.
Yeah, it's not like we have him on our cover. It's not in a name or anything.
Yeah. John, as he is now, is a newer character, and he's incredible. So John is talking to his mom, Lois, about how he doesn't think his dad's going to show up for this event. All of this is done in speech bubbles because Superman is out in space fighting aliens. So it turns out, back on Earth, Metropolis is holding a Superman Day in honor of Superman for all that he does to the city. Clark eventually shows up as Clark and not Superman, and people are just going across the stage saying how Superman saved them. The chief of the fire department is talking about how Superman saved him when he was saving a little girl, and things like that. Just everyday people talking about how Superman has changed their lives, and Superman's like, oh, I think I remember that one. And Lois says to him something along the lines of, I know it's just another day in your life, but that's their entire lives to them. And he starts to see like how much he means to them, because Superman is not anything but modest. He's just a humble, good person who just wants to do the right thing. So the entire time they're standing there, Lois has been on the phone with Perry, their boss. And she's talking about, no, Perry, he can't come. You can't talk to Clark. And Superman is looking for any reason to get out of this event. He's trying to find any type of crime, any type of thing, because it makes him uncomfortable to take what would you call that? Take compliments that they're giving him. He just doesn't, he's not that kind of person. He doesn't do it for that. So the whole time she's sitting there talking on the phone, like, stop calling. Eventually, Perry shows up on stage to talk about Superman. And Clark's like, wait, you weren't talking to Perry, were you? And then he flies off and he's stopped by Wonder Woman. And she's like, Clark, we got it. Turns out the aliens from before had landed all over Earth. And the person that had been calling Lois was Bruce, who was trying to get Superman back on the scene when there was some touch and go spots. But Lois didn't let him. She did not relent. And Wonder Woman's talking about how everyone came together to stop them. And Superman's like, oh, the Justice League? And Wonder Woman's like, no, everyone. They go back to the event, and pretty much every superhero that's relevant in the DCU at this point is on stage waiting for Superman. It's a really touching moment because they all appreciate everything that he does for them and for the world. And Superman gets his moment of appreciation that he accepts finally.
I want to know when this was when this was drawn and written, because I feel like this was in a really far in advance.
Well,
because you can, it's by the way that you can tell who's actually in the crowd, because it's the first team of Rebirth Titans.
Yeah, well, Sideways is there too,
and Silencer. But you know who's not there? Kyle Rayner. All the other Green Lanterns are there, except for Kyle Rayner.
Green Lanterns don't matter.
Are you telling me?
Sideways is there. Sideways and Silencer are from something that DC was trying to do after Metal and introduce a new brand of hero. I think only 2 of those books still are being printed at this point. Kind of sad because Silencer I enjoyed it. And Sideways is really good. But yeah, this page of all these, I'm looking at it right now, all these heroes is just so cool. Also, Damien's in it. So this is the first episode we've mentioned both John and Damien. Hashtag Super Sons.
Yep. Namesake.
Yeah.
I do love that Booster's there.
Yeah. So
love me some Booster Gold.
Yeah, this page is, it's a lot. Like, there's so many cool things. Like, Harley Quinn is wearing a Superman shirt. Like, things like that. Like, I love that kind of shit. Oh, also in this issue,
why is Deathstroke there?
Oh no, maybe this was when he was good for that hot second. Remember?
Oh yeah.
Another thing that sticks out about this story more than any other story is when Clark finally gets there. Lois does the Superman thing where she opens her shirt and John's like, she's been waiting all day to do that.
That was my favorite part of this story.
Yeah. Literally everyone in the crowd has Superman on their shirts, jackets, backpacks, balloons, everything. Sweaters.
I like that the hero that's on stage that tells him to take a bow is his cousin. She's like, take a bow.
Oh, yeah. All right. You want to go to the next story?
Yes, I do. It is The Never-Ending Battle written by Peter J. Tomasi, pencils by Patrick Gleason, also inks by Patrick Gleason, colorist Alejandro Sanchez, letterer Tom Napolitano. I feel we've said this before. We've got Napolitano. There we go.
There's 2 of them. I don't know if they're related. I don't ever want to make that assumption.
Yeah, no, you did that before.
Yeah, we cut that though. All right, so what's this story?
Well, now they know.
Story about?
This story is kind of him narrating everything, which comes in later. But he's at the hands of Vandal Savage, who has weaponized hyper time.
And like Vandal Savage. So, can you explain a little bit who Vandal Savage is? Because that's not a character a lot of people are going to know.
I mean, if they've seen that Arrowverse crossover,
he's the bad guy for season 1 of Legends of Tomorrow.
Yes, that is true. But we don't talk about that season because Vandal Savage sucked.
So Vandal Savage has been around since the beginning of time. He's like this super imposing super villain.
Yeah, he's if I'm right, he's supposed to be Neanderthal.
He's no, I think he's the first human. He killed the Neanderthals, didn't he? Something like that.
I don't know. It's a lot. But he finds like this super like meteorite that he touches, and then he becomes super smart and stuff, and he lives forever. There's a lot to him. There's a lot.
Yeah, he's
actually surprising. Like every time you see him in a picture, he's actually really tall, but like his listed height is 5'8".
Yeah, so he's a pretty big supervillain. He goes against he's one of the like villains that can go against the entire Justice League by himself.
Yeah,
but he kind of doesn't do that. He's one of those planning types.
Yeah, no, he's rarely used wrong, but he's not used too often. Yeah. Like there are some characters who are used completely wrong, and it's like he's a dark side type.
He's a human dark side.
Yeah, he's a human dark side. He just sits he has other people do things for him. And when he actually fights or gets involved, it's serious. But like there's probably some times where he's been misused, but he's more of an intellectual.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, you can go back to your summary.
So Vandal Savage has him in this hyper time like chamber thing, and it launches Superman through every era of himself, starting with his first appearance as a super strong man who lacked most of his powers. He hadn't had the heat vision. He didn't have flying. Didn't have his Arctic breath, and he didn't have his iconic shield. He just has like it looks more like a real shield.
Yeah, it's like a literal shield.
Yeah. So and then the next page it jumps to a slightly more recognizable version of him, still with he's got a triangle logo now with an S on it, but he's stronger than a locomotive, and he's saving a child who was holding his ball on the track, and
literally stopped the locomotive.
And
he's like in the way.
He literally just stops a whole train. It's just like nope. So then it jumps to him fighting alongside the Allies against the Nazis with a logo that's is mostly associated with the old cartoon serials. And then it jumps into the iconic and timeless classic version of the character on an alien planet, getting the Gulliver's Travels treatment, tied down by little aliens. And then it jumps to another one, a meeting with mole men. Then it's fighting a dragon, fighting two different versions of himself in two different art styles. Mother Nature striking him with a red lightning bolt to steal his powers. What were you saying?
That's the art is a reference to The Dark Knight Returns, when he gets hit with the atomic bomb and he absorbs it. Yeah.
And then it jumps to him fighting the Silver Banshee, Black Suit Superman, Steel, and Superboy fighting Mongol. Then it's animated Zod laughing as he trapped Superman in the negative zone. And then it goes to, which is one of my favorite stories, the iconic Kingdom Come, where he's fighting off against Magog. And then it jumps to him breaking out, starting with 4 different versions of him. The New 52, the Convergence Black Suit, the first Rebirth suit, and then the second one as he punches Vandal Savage in the face. And then it turns out they were celebrating for him. And on this whole thing was him explaining to Lois and John why he was late for his own birthday. And also on that page is a little superstar character from a little show that aired from March 25th, 2005 to December 15th, 2006. I'll just leave it at that. I'll leave that to you. You guys can figure that out.
It's Crypto the Superdog. It's Crypto the Superdog. This is I love this story. Sorry if you guys can hear me flipping through the pages. I just really love this entire issue. I fucking ride or die Black Suit Superman.
God, it is so great. Except that I have one issue with it, which was in the movie. Like, like the collar, the wide collar, when it's drawn like that, it's a little weird. Like, the wide collar makes sense when he has the cape, but he doesn't have a cape on this one, so I feel like it should go up to his neck, but it's still a nice suit.
The entire theme of this story is that no matter what, Superman's always going to fight through any single thing that's thrown at him for his family and friends and for the people he cares about. The entire time he's narrating, he's talking about how Vandal can throw anything against him, but the past, this is a quote, but the past informs us, teaches us, and the most of all, strengthens us. For someone so steeped in history, it's ironic that Vandal went and forgot the cardinal rule that those who forget the past are doomed to repeat it. God, such a good story.
Honestly, seeing, all like, of Kingdom these stories are so... Yeah, no, that was so good to me.
I love any superhero or supervillain with the gray temple streak, except Reed Richards, because Reed Richards is a douchebag.
Yeah, he hits his wife. But and he hits his kids. But no, everyone has to complain. No, I'm not even going to get into that.
Reed Richards sucks. Next story.
Yes, that is An Enemy Within. Scripted by Marv Wolfman, who is a legend. Legend. Say it with me, Dan. Legend.
All right, continue. Sorry, I'm looking at this page, and I was confused by this story, because the original story is by Cindy Goff, Kurt Swan, and Butch Geiss, with page 5 courtesy of Superman, The Secret Years, number 2, by Bob Rosax, Kurt Swan, and Kurt Schwanenberger. So I guess this is like a retelling.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. But they did it in a way to where it's like, ooh, what's going on? Like, you have to go read that to know what's actually happening. Because this is a little more... It hides some things, but you can infer what's the thing, what's going on. Sorry. I'm on some medicine. It is... Well, the story is narrated by the Blue Boy Scout, and it's him talking about Metropolis Police Captain Maggie Sawyer as she's dealing with a hostage situation to stop a man who has a rifle up to a woman's head, and something's clearly wrong with the man. He's being controlled by somebody. There's a subtle green hue in his speech bubbles that eventually fades, and then the police shoot him with rubber bullets, and then, you know, as the man's wife is like, "What are you doing? He dropped his gun." They're like, "Don't worry, rubber bullets." That's gotta be horrifying.
When they hit him with the rubber bullets, Superman says, "Rubber bullets? Compassion, even under the threat of danger. Way to go, Maggie." Like, these people around him are so good, and he appreciates them and does whatever he can to make them better.
Oh, yeah, no, in my notes, I wrote that she handles the hostage situation with grace and resolve.
Yeah.
And it's a great story. Like, I don't know anything about Maggie Sawyer, but from this, you get a clear idea of who she is as a character.
She's pretty much his Gordon.
Yeah, but without all the cigarettes.
Yeah, so I like Brainiac. I like him a lot.
Well, I didn't mention it was Brainiac yet.
Well, it's Brainiac surprised with the green hue under their eyes.
Well, so Maggie later runs into a man in the park who has glowing green eyes. And he has like a robotic thought bubble where he's like, "Oh no, 1, 2, blah blah blah." Jump in the gun, Dan.
That's fine.
Yeah. But go ahead for the next story.
Yeah, I just want to talk a little bit more about the ending of this one. Superman isn't in this story until the last bit. And he says, "While human passions can be infuriating, their unstoppable will to ultimately do right, even under the threat of danger, is indomitable." This captures that Superman believes in the best of people. He believes that human nature is good, while Batman believes human nature is bad. Reading this, I've probably read this a couple times. Makes me so excited for the Detective Comics 1000 that's coming out in a couple weeks.
I see why this was put in here. Because I completely forgot about this last page with Superman on it. So in the bottom right hand corner where it says "end," it also says for Kurt, and Kurt Swan passed away in 1996.
Oh,
yeah. So this was in memory of him.
So the next story is called "The Car," written by...
Well, no, the next story is The Game, Dan.
Oh, okay. So that's actually a good point, because The Game was not included in the physical issue that I own. I don't know if that's a misprint or maybe it's just the digital version has this story. But it was pretty good. I didn't know it existed until Jake texted me before we recorded. He goes, "Hey, you missed one." I went, "No, I didn't." He's like, "The game where Lex and Superman play chess." And I was like, "The fuck?" And I went and pulled up my...
Yeah, and I thought, I literally was like, okay, I figured he's going to want to read this one because this is right up his alley.
So, this issue is written by Paul Levitz and Neil Adams. Pencils and inks by Neil Adams. Colors by Hi-Fi. Letters by David Sharp. Neil Adams is...
Neil Adams
Neil Adams is one of the biggest comic book writer artists of all time. And he has a very distinct style. So in this one, it's a long time ago, like around when Superman started. Superman's like, I can't believe it's a year already. And he arrives on top of Lex Tower, and Lex is like, oh, you want to face me again? And Superman just has a chessboard under his arm. He goes, no, let's just play a game. And if you win, whatever. So Lex keeps mouthing off at him, just acting holier than thou. Lex Luthor is just a man who wants to be a god, while Superman is a god that wants to be a man, but not in the good way that Batman does it, in the bad way where he wants to be the devil.
Well, Lex is, oh God, he's such a complex character. And so many times people write he's got such a diverse character arc because so many people write him so differently.
Yeah, well, I'll cover a little bit more about him later. But in this, they are playing chess, and Superman bests him and knocks over one of his pieces. And Lex is like, I don't think so. And a bunch of Kryptonian green chains bust through the floor, wrap around Superman.
Like snakes. They're like snakes.
It's like this bombastic, like, what the hell?
It's some Silver Agey shit right there.
Superman was ready for it, and he pulls out this white box. It's a mother box that Scott Free gave him to escape.
That is the most boring mother box of all time, though. It's just a white box.
Yeah. So basically, Superman was ready for this. He knew Lex wouldn't play fair. And he just wanted to hang out with his arch nemesis because Superman is Superman. And he doesn't punch a bunch of doctors.
I also like that it's not the slim, muscular Lex Luthor.
Yo, ride or die for Fat Lex.
Yeah, he's like he's got a jowly face.
I like thick. I like my arch nemesis thick with 2 C's.
All right. I actually really love the art in this.
See, I recognize that Neil Adams is one of the greatest artists of all time. I just don't like his art. Like, I'm not into it.
Yeah. There's parts where it's okay, but then look at Superman while he says checkmate. That is a great profile.
Yeah. But yeah, the next story is The Car. You could do the story. I just want to talk a little bit about the team. Writer Jeff Johns and Richard Donner.
Wait, who's Jeff Johns?
You know, he wrote a couple comic books. Richard Donner, though, do you know who that is, Jake?
I do not.
Directed Superman.
Oh.
Yeah, so
I have heard that name before.
Mm-hmm. He helped write this story. Yeah, a little fun fact for you.
See, this truly is a celebration of all things Superman.
Yeah, it's great. I think he has worked with Johns before, but it's just cool to be like, wait, Richard Donner? But go ahead, talk about this. Is a good one.
Well, let's finish up the creative team.
Oh yeah,
pencils by. Is that Olivier?
Sounds right.
I feel like it's Olivier. Like, and
yeah,
Copiel.
Pencils and inks.
Yeah, and colors by Alejandro Sanchez. You're gonna say it.
Nick Napolitano.
Napolitano.
It's fine. If we said your name wrong, just come on the show and correct us.
And then we can be friends.
Well, that's how we get them on the show. We say their names wrong, and then they come on the show.
Yeah, no, we're doing it on purpose, guys. We tricked you. We tricked you.
Well, you can't tell them we tricked them until they get on the show. Now they're going to know.
No, Dan, it's okay. Because we're going to do it a bunch more.
All right. Talking about the story.
So the story is telling... Well, it's telling a story, the story of the behind the cover of the original Action Comics from 1938. And it tells him, it's the aftermath of the cover where Superman crushes a green car into a telephone pole. And this story is from the perspective of the driver, Butch, who's at the auto body shop after escaping with his car, and he's just kind of like wandering through the scrapyard, and then at the bottom there's the really cool bird plane, and then the next page is Superman confronting him. He's like, "You weren't where I left you." And he proceeds to lecture Butch about how he lives his life, but he clarifies that he looked into Butch. It's like, "Yeah, I know you had a hard life. Your dad died when you were a kid, but you could do better than this. You have a choice: throw your life away or reform." And Butch tells a little story as he's getting lectured by Superman that on really hot summer days when he was a kid, that everybody in his neighborhood wanted to go swimming, but they didn't have a pool. So this issue came out in June, so it's obviously the summer in America, in the Northern Hemisphere. And so what Butch does to reform is he goes into his neighborhood, busts open a fire hydrant for all the kids playing. And the art, oh my god,
so good.
Ugh.
I think something like Superman doesn't lecture, like he's not lecturing him. I think he's talking to him because at first he's flying, but as he's talking to him, saying he looked into him, he lands and he's all high level. It
starts kind of as a lecture and then it goes to a heart to heart.
It does, because he's coming down, he's becoming human. He's looking at this person eye to eye and it's like, listen, you've been through a lot of shit. You went to an orphanage, you cared for your mom, you lost your dad. You've had your fair share of knocks and you keep knocking the world back like you've done. It's just like Superman's like, dude, be the person that they wanted you to be. I think giving an iconic cover like that such a heartfelt, meaningful backstory.
Yeah.
Is one of the times that I'm like cool with backtracking on that type of stuff.
Yeah, no, I've said this, 2-3 times now? This is a celebration of everything Superman.
Yeah, and it really captures what he is meant to be. Especially the fact that he stands next to him and looks at him eye to eye. He's not looking down on him as Superman. That shit in the art is impactful. Mm-hmm. The next story, though, is The Fifth Season. Writer, Scott Snyder. Pencils by Raphael Albuquerque. Inks also by Raphael Albuquerque. Colorist, Dave McCraig. And letterer, Tom Napolitano. Whatever. Before I get into this, Scott Snyder is also he's writing Justice League. He's one of the big DC writers right now. But before he was that, he wrote American Vampire, was it? Mm-hmm. With Raphael Albuquerque. So this is there's certain teams you think of in comic books. And this is a team that I came to know him with. So I was really excited to read this one when it came out. So it opens with darkness surrounding Lex Luthor, and then eventually it's light with Superman behind him, and they're talking about how Lex has acquired these two weapons that basically give him the ability to cut through time, to see everything, and to essentially erase a genealogical code. So pretty much you can erase Superman. They're walking through the Smallville it's the Smallville Astrology Center? Smallville Planetarium.
Yeah, Smallville Planetarium. Well, let's clarify that, because there's stories where Lex Luthor isn't from Smallville.
Yeah,
but that is the classic version.
Yeah, so Lex begins to tell Superman there's a fifth season in Smallville between winter and spring. It's just a few weeks, but random weather occurrences from hurricanes to tornadoes rip through the town, and anything can happen. But then he goes on to tell him that this was the hardest season for him in his life because this is when his parents would fight the most, and this is when his father would hit him the hardest. Lex, in this background, raised from Smallville, does not grow up with an easy life. His father is an abusive alcoholic, and Lex tries to protect his sister, and it makes you understand sort of why Lex the way he is, and gives you a little bit of empathy for him. But so they're talking, and Lex is talking about how when he was a kid, he tried to build this thing to send an SOS out into space to see what he would get. But he didn't heat the nitrogen in this experiment, which should have killed him. And he was like, oh, maybe I got lucky. Lex Luthor does not rely on luck. So he's using this item to cut through time to see what really happened. And it's him as a child setting up this experiment. And from the doorway, you see a young Clark Kent who sees the nitro and heats it up. Clark was there as well to send an SOS out into space in order to send a message to where he came from in hopes of hearing back. And the two men are standing side by side talking. And Lex sees this, and Lex says to him, I got the eye and the scissors to kill you. And Superman responds with, I know you did, Lex. And it ends with Lex going, but maybe. And after that speech bubble, it says the 5th season. So it's kind of a nice little, Lex isn't going to kill him. It's like that one-off chance that they both see something that changed their lives, and Superman saved him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say this one's my favorite, but I think this one is my favorite because I think I'm starting to understand Lex Luthor because I'm starting to understand Superman. I really enjoyed the fact that Superman and him have like this intertwining past that neither of them realizes.
Mm-hmm. That was a really good one. The next one is probably, I don't know if this one's my favorite, but I really love Ma and Pa Kent. So this next story is Of Tomorrow, written by Tom King, pencils and inks by Clay Mann, or Man.
Yeah, it's Man.
Okay. Colorist is Jordi Belair, letterer John Workman. And it tells a story in the distant future as Superman returns to Earth that has been ruined by the sun. In this future, the humans have left the planet long ago, and they developed a formula for immortality, which comes in great flavor, which Lois Lane has grown very tired of. But Superman, the story starts by Superman grabbing some dirt and then crushing it into a diamond. And he's holding this diamond throughout as he's talking to the Earth and to two specific people who, to their grave. He's talking to his parents as the Earth is being burned. And he just wants to say goodbye because there's really no coming back after this. And as he's just telling them all this stuff, he tells them about how Lois doesn't like the Eternity formula, which it tastes like grape. He's like, I really wish you could see John. And that he's so proud of his son. He's just filling his parents in. He's telling them he loves and misses them. It's every day. It's been a long, long time since he's seen them, but he'll never forget them. How they were such an important part of his life. How they shaped him. And so he takes the diamond, uses his heat vision on it to carve a little figurine of his parents and him as a little boy. And he leaves it on their shared gravestone. And there's this one quote, and he walks off and flies off into the fire and is gone. And then it just ends with their gravestone. It says, Kent, Jonathan, and Martha, beloved parents, grandparents, gave us hope. And there's one quote I really like. It's, we're all stardust fallen. And
I love that.
The art. Oh God, I love Clayman.
That's there's a quote from another Superman book that is like one of my favorite comic book quotes of all time. We'll get to it eventually when we cover the Morrison.
Mm-hmm.
The next story, 5 minutes. Writer Louise Simonson, Jerry Ordway. The inks are also by Jerry Ordway. The colorist is David McCraig. Letterer Carlos M. Mangual. Something cool about this story.
I think
Louise.
Yeah.
What?
I think this is one of the only times I've ever read her doing something DC.
Oh no, she's written a lot of DC.
Oh, has she?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have a general association with her with X-Men stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was going to talk about. She's a big X-Men writer. But yeah, she's written, actually, I think, a lot of Superman. The next page after this story... So in this issue, there's a bunch of pinups of art of Superman. The one at the page after this is by Walter Simonson and Brennan Wagner. Walt Simonson is her husband, and they do a lot of stuff together. So I thought that was really cool and like sweet that they were right next to each other in the issue. This story was... I keep saying it, but every story in this issue is great. So Clark is working against a deadline at the Daily Planet, and Perry gives him 5 minutes to get the copy to the printers. He's on a deadline. He's got to get this to the printers so the paper can go out. But Superman, as Superman will do, has seen or heard something where he has to go and stop this train that's the driver's had a heart attack and is headed for a collision. Superman runs out, flies off. He goes out and saves a bunch more people than that. He saves the train. He saves his friend
Bibbo Bibowski.
Bibbo Bibowski, who I didn't really know anything about until the Death of Superman movie.
I love Bibbo.
I will die for Bibbo.
I mean, I really liked him in Young Justice.
When was he in Young Justice?
Hold on.
Sorry if you can hear those cats outside the door. I really want to get in.
I heard it. I hear her. I hear her.
That's Corey.
Yeah, no.
Named after Starfire. And Mara is... who knows where she...
Yeah, no. Bibbo was in Young Justice as the diner owner version.
Oh. Yeah, so Bibbo is was Superman's biggest fan.
Yeah,
he loves him.
He saved him when he was on when he was a fisherman. Later he had a restaurant where he was like, Superman can eat for free.
He also hits one of the people robbing him with a bag of money, which is awesome. So he's fighting alongside Superman. And then Superman stops a satellite about to crash down into Metropolis. He gets back to the office, finishes his paper on time after doing all of this. Perry comes over and he's like, I did it, Per. I got it to the printers. And he goes, oh, I don't care. That's old news. I need you to go cover those Superman stories. Jimmy, go help him.
Clark just, oh, man, I just lived this.
But he says he loves his jobs. Even if it's this shit, he's like, God damn it. I love my life.
It's just I just think that part is so funny.
The next story is something pretty cool. It's called Faster Than a Speeding Bullet. Writer is Brad Meltzer. Pencils by John Cassaday, who's also a big comic book artist. The inks are also by John Cassaday. The colorist is Laura Martin, and the letterer is Chris Elapoulos. Brad Meltzer wrote Identity Crisis.
Wait, you skipped over Action Land.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I'll go to that one next then. So in this story, Superman is on a race against the clock as a man with nothing left to lose is about to shoot his hostage. Superman laments on how the most dangerous supervillain is someone who has nothing left to lose. As Superman is flying as fast as he can to get there, you see like an X-ray vision of the gun. Superman's doing these calculations of how fast this bullet will move for this model of gun through this type of barrel. It's really cool to like see that breakdown of like his thought process and him realizing he's still not fast enough to get there. The hostage starts to push her head into the gun, which allows her to move her head back so the bullet doesn't go directly into her head. So when the bullet goes off, Superman is there just in the nick of time to grab it in his hand. As they both stand outside after everything's settled, he says, "You were really brave." And she goes, "Oh yeah, that's what Batman would have done." And he's like, she goes, "It was a joke."
Everything about this last page I just love.
Yeah, and then there's a little dialogue between Lois and Clark, and it ends with Lois saying that his real secret is that Superman is inspired by humans. He's inspired by us to do what he does.
Yeah,
but
I love that. She's like, "You met a good one today, didn't you?" And he's like, "I meet a good one every day." And I'm just that's my favorite part.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I skipped over Paul Dini. It's called Action Land. And Paul Dini, he wrote for a little show known as Batman the Animated Series, Batman Beyond. He did Lost. He wrote for Lost. He wrote for Superman. He's kind of, one of the biggest DC people. He also created Harley Quinn. So this
one version of the character. He created the character not the original, because there were characters known as Harlequin before her.
Oh, but he created Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he created the Harley Quinn as we know them.
Yeah. So there's one name we're going to get messed up a lot in this.
The writer is Paul Dini. Oh, yeah, the character. Pencils by Joe Luis Garcia Lopez. Inks by Kevin Nolan. Colorist Trish Mulvihill. And letterer Josh Reed. So the story opens with a theme park that seems to be in the future. There's this rocket ship they're all getting onto in a Superman-themed ride. Like, there's a big statue of Superman. And they're going through Superman's life, the normal bullet points, the Justice League, growing up in Kansas, all that good stuff, the normal Superman story. But then they get to the thing at the end where they're like, oh, and then Superman was defeated by his greatest villain, Mr. Mxyzptlk.
Mxyzptlk.
Mxyzptlk? No.
Mxyzptlk.
Yeah, never.
Mxyzptlk. Weird. This is why I prefer Batmite.
Yeah, so Mr. Mxyzptlk, I'm not changing how I'm saying it. The only way to defeat him is to say his name backwards, or get him to say his own name backwards. Mm-hmm. He's got world-changing powers. He can pretty much do whatever. He's usually a meta-narrative, but they say he's the one who defeated Superman, but the ride ends when he can't figure out how he stopped Superman. The woman leading the ride is actually his girlfriend, and she's talking to him, and she's like, you don't want this story to end. And he's like, I guess not. I guess he's like trying to be Superman's biggest villain, but he doesn't want to stop Superman. He wants to keep seeing these stories just as we do. So there's no way to end it. But I think the most fun thing in this is that it ends with Batmite on a rocket
with Thunderbolt, partner of both Johnny Thunder and Joaquin Thunder.
Yeah, I don't
That's
know.
A JSA character, everybody. He's great.
Yeah, but why is he there?
Because he's from the fifth dimension. He's a genie from the fifth dimension.
No, I guess that makes sense.
Mxyzptlk and Batmite are imps, and then there's the one I don't even know.
Yeah, I didn't know who that was. But Batmite says, point this thing to the Batcave. So I really hope there's a sequel.
And Thunderbolt's
Detective.
like, you got it.
Yeah, so I hope there's a sequel in Detective Comics in a couple of weeks. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, I think this is a fun little thing. I think it's the weakest.
Yeah, I'd agree.
But I'm kind of excited to see what happens after. I really hope they continue this. And now we are on to our last one, which we should preface a little bit. Jake, who wrote Who wrote this last story?
Brian Michael Bendis.
Creator of Miles Morales. Pretty much wrote X-Men for how many years?
He wrote all new X-Men for a good chunk of it. He revived the Guardians of the Galaxy before the movie came out, which I preferred comparatively to the movie version and everything that came afterwards.
Yeah, but Brian Michael Bendis was like a huge deal at Marvel. He did a lot. The Spider-Man Ultimate Universe, like he was a big name, and then he signed a exclusive contract with DC. And now has his own imprints there. He's writing Young Justice, which is terrific, and he's writing Superman.
A lot of Superman.
So, yeah, Jake, who is the creative team on this story?
As I already said, writer is Brian Michael Bendis. Pencils by one Jim Lee, pretty big name in comic books.
Also came from Marvel.
Yeah, and later Image. Well, he's one of the founders of Image. But anyway, inks by Scott Williams, colorist Alex Sinclair, letterer Corey Petit. And this is the most current version of Superman as in the post Rebirth era, because that's pretty much over what they're doing now. And it starts by him getting smashed through a bunch of buildings, hitting the street, and then landing in a little coffee shop where the owner and her friend are like, he ruined my place. And the woman's like, you're insured, Laura. So they decide whatever hurt Superman is gonna come towards him. So they're like, okay, let's get him behind the counter. And then in comes in a big image of Bendis's new big bad of Kryptonian lore, Rogol Zar. Or Zar.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of those two. It's a fictional character. I'm not going to offend anybody. But he's flying forward, and they're like, what are we going to do? And the one's like, he's wearing the red shorts again. And he was just like, I saw why? Why are you bringing this up? And Zar is coming towards him. He's like, Kryptonian, you can spare these Earthers the collateral and then punched and heat visioned by Supergirl, just pummeled, and then that doesn't last too long, and he hits her real far, and they're still trying to drag him, and the Metropolis police are deciding we gotta help. So Maggie Sawyer has all her men shoot at this guy to little effect as he stabs his axe that has a sword on the bottom of it into the ground. And then Superman gets up, says, I'm sorry I didn't get your name. And then he tells them, and they have a big brawl, and Superman is losing. But he's about to crash into a bookstore, but he stops himself before he hits the glass, which is a really cool image. And then Zar's like, nope, this is a cleansing. Because that's what he does. He wants to cleanse the universe of the Kryptonian plague. And he's just beating Superman down. And before Supergirl can get there in time to save him, Zar takes the bottom sword part of his weapon and stabs Superman in the throat, and he admits that he's the one who destroyed Krypton. And if you want to know more about that, go pick up everything that's going on with Bendis, from Man of Steel to the Superman comic.
Yep.
And Action Comics.
It was just a preview for the Bendis comics that were coming out. Yeah. So that is Superman.
But that is the ugliest villain of all time.
He's real scary looking.
He kind of reminds me
but-
of the way they were drawing Jor-El, because sometimes they'd give it in news. If anyone doesn't know this, turns out Jor-El is still alive. He's just batshit insane, has like a scarred face on one side, and it's kind of drawn green sometimes. And that's what Zar has on his face.
Yeah, it's real weird. But yeah, that is Action Comics 1000. It's actually worth picking up, even though we went through it. It's also on the DC Universe app if you want to read it on there. But
Yeah,
it is Valentine's Day weekend. And we just wanted to kind of let you in on who our favorite DC couples are. So, Jake, you want to talk about yours?
My favorite DC couple is Hourman and Liberty Bell from Justice Society of America.
And why is that?
Because, like, at any point, they're just madly in love with each other. Like, they're always like, they're really the epitome of PDA, but it's like, you know, they care about each other. And during that whole thing, a lot of the times they're just like, in the Justice Society of America by Jeff Johns, they're like, they're parenting an adult man who's only probably like 10 years younger than them in Damage. They're like, come on, man, it's fine. Also, because they went skiing in Black Lightning, got them really cool themed skis. But they're just a cute couple.
Yeah. Mine's a tie between Mara and Aquaman, which I don't really need to go into that. I'll go over that anytime I can. The other one, though, is Abigail and Alec Holland.
With a side of John Constantine.
Yeah, well, not really. He takes his body. That's a whole nother thing. But Abigail and Swamp Thing, who Alec Holland is, she is the epitome of death in the New 52, and the New 52 is a time period when they rebooted DC Comics, and Swamp Thing was the herald of the green, which is life. Despite them being on the opposite ends of the spectrum, they still fell in love, and it was I think it was a lot more impactful in the New 52 just because it wasn't the weird Alan Moore shit.
Yeah, but what?
I mean, I love Alan Moore's Swamp Thing is one of the best comics ever.
I'm curious. Were they like that when they fell in love, or were those? I know Alec and the original telling, they were together before Alec was Swamp Thing, but
yeah, not in this one.
Okay,
in the New 52 they weren't.
So they meet as Swamp Thing and the epitome of death.
Well, yeah, she's an arcane. They're the gray.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot about the gray.
Yeah.
But not on this Earth.
But yeah, on Earth too. But yeah, she I like the New 52 version of them more so than the original.
So she is this universe's BDSM version of Solomon Grundy, right?
Yeah, that Grundy was a terrible design.
BDSM Butcher Grundy.
Yeah, he's covered in there. Okay, so that's all for this week. You can find us at DC Super Sons on Twitter. Our website will be up pretty soon, so in the next episode I will give you a link to that. And then all of our other social medias will be there. If you have any requests or feedback about us, hit us up at dcsupersons@gmail.com. We will always do your requests for stories. We have a lot of requests in the pipeline, so we will keep at them to teach you a little bit more about the DC universe as each episode comes on. That's it for this week. I'm Jake. Oh, wait. No.
You're not Jake. I'm Jake. You're Dan.
Oh, no. Oh, no, it's happening. I will be on one of the podcasts that kind of inspired us to make this show, Battle of the Atom. I think in a couple weeks, talking about Adam X the Extreme, a character I have somehow fallen in love with in the past year. Yeah. All right. Check that out.
We also have another thing that's coming, but we'll talk about that when the time comes.
Yeah. All right. See you in 2 weeks.
We out.